Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and for the last time in perhaps quite a while, we're here to do the Celtic Transfer Talk series. It's a busy day, it's transfer deadline day. Celtic are at the racers now to go and sign a left back with only hours left on the clock. The talk is strong, it looks as though someone is coming through the door. I'm here to give my profile on the player, my opinions on the player, and talk about some other transfer rumours all after the intro. Tomorrow we'll have a full rundown of the transfer window and what I believe is one of the strongest we've had perhaps in the last 10 years. But for now, let's talk about the dealings that we could be seeing on a hectic deadline day. Right then, we're going to start with the obvious, and if you've been up and about for the last few hours, and if you've been up late last night, then you will know that Celtic have apparently made a bid for AC Milan left-back Diego Laxalt. I think that's how you pronounce the name, I'm not entirely sure, we'll find out when he does sign for Celtic maybe. Apparently he is on his way to London to make a medical for Celtic over the next few hours, and hopefully sign by tonight, in an area which we have been shouting out for someone. We've been crying out for a new left-back. It's been the priority on both the fans and Neil Lennon's shopping list, because we know we're very scarce in that area, and we know Greg Taylor has struggled a bit this season. I'm a big fan of Taylor, I've been through that so many times, but there was no doubt that we needed to bring someone in, and this is a man who's played at the highest level. This is a guy who's experienced, 27 years of age. He would be coming into Celtic and he would make a fabulous addition to what is a team that's going for a 10th consecutive title. A left back who can also play as a left midfielder, Diego Laxalt is a Uruguayan international who has played at the World Cup in 2018 in Russia. Someone who has been highly rated throughout his career over in Italy, starting off with AC Milan over there, well, signed from Uruguay beforehand I believe. Played for Inter Milan, moved to Genoa, got a £16 million move to AC Milan, and last season spent his time on loan at Torino. Now, this is a perfect signing for Celtic, you could say. The fact that he's a left back who can play as a left midfielder. We play in a system now with the 3-5-2 that ideally whoever's playing on that left hand side can be a defender and yet very attacking minded. We've seen how good Jeremy Frimpong is on that right hand side because of how he likes to take on his man, how quick he bombs up and down the wing, his attacking mind. It really benefits us, and we need someone like that on the left hand side. And as much as Greg Taylor does try it, some will say he doesn't quite perfect it. He's not as effective as perhaps Frimpong is on the other side of the pitch. So Laxalt is coming in, who spent the majority of last season playing as a left midfielder, with a great set of talent to play in that role over on the left hand side of the park. Yes, we've got players like Mohamed El Younousi who are great going forward, but if you want that defensive ability in there, which is going to be massive for games against Rangers in Europe, Hibs, all the rest of these top teams, he's going to be a fantastic wee player to have there. Last season, Mr. Laxalt racked up 24 appearances in the Serie A with 1 assist. Not too sparkling, considering he was playing higher up the park as a left midfielder, but his best season, which got him a £16 million move to AC Milan, was played at left back, when he got 34 appearances, 4 goals and 3 assists. That season also got him his call up to the World Cup, where he appeared 4 times in the tournament, getting an assist there. So this is a guy who's played at the highest level of both club and international football. Serie A, a very tough league, and of course a very defensive styled league. Italy's always been famous for its famous Catenaccio style. It's always been famous for the defenders that the country has produced. He's played in what is arguably the best defensive league in the world. Perhaps not over the last few years as good as what it once was, but this style of football has been kind of carved into its culture since the dawn of time. And he's played at the World Cup, for goodness sake. How many World Cup players have Celtic got in their team? Scotland as a country, for God's sake. This is a guy who I'm not expecting to come in, and I'm not going to try and lick up his backside and say that he's going to come in and set the world alight and be the best player I've ever seen. But ultimately, you're looking at someone who, maybe at the start of this window, right, when we were looking for left backs, the options weren't that great. There wasn't that many out there that realistically we were going to sign that would come in and make such an impact. This is a guy who potentially can. And yet, on the other hand, he could come in and be a flop. I don't want to put expectation on the fans' minds that he's going to be great, but if you're judging off what he's done so far in his career, at the age of 27, he's not too shabby looking. So far this season, he hasn't appeared for AC Milan, and of course, coming back from that loan at Torino, we'll be looking for some first-team football. And Celtic's a perfect place to do it. Yes, he had the same deal at Torino last season. They had an option to buy. They didn't trigger it, and perhaps that's for a reason. Maybe he's not as good as what Celtic fans are thinking. I mean, he's in a very positive reaction so far on Twitter. Most people seem very impressed with this from Mr. Lennon. Look, the image I've got of Neil Lennon is him drawing AC Milan the Europa League, checking out their... What's that, left back there? Sign him. Not even scouted him, just sign him because he's in the AC Milan squad. If that's how he's done it, respect, Neil, respect. But nonetheless, coming to London for a medical today. Hopefully by the end of the night we have some confirmation about him coming into the team. Look, I've not seen much of him play, as I expect many of you as well, but if you're a fan of Italian football, I'm sure you'll be excited to see someone come through the door. The Twitter write-ups seem to be quite good. We'll soon see. Look, there's every chance he can be a ball and goalie, but for every ball and goalie, there's a Lee Naylor. Second story to talk about in this deadline day special of the Celtic transfer talk is Robert Snodgrass, who yesterday was actually brought up after the game to Neil Lennon in the press conference, and it just kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't expect Celtic to be going in the market for a right winger this transfer window, but look, Robert Snodgrass, let's cut to the chase straight away. I don't think it's going to be happening. As many people are, there's people going through Twitter as if it's a done deal. Like, he's signed, he's here, he's at Celtic Park. Big Celtic fans walk through the doors and he's here to win 10 in a row. I'm going to go off Alison Conroy's tweet for now. Alison Conroy, very reliable football journalist, a very good journalist as well at that. She's saying that Snodgrass won't be heading to Celtic Park. There's no interest from Celtic, and Neil Lennon is only looking to make the one signing today, being a left back. On the other hand, you have Neil Lennon, who came out and said yesterday in that press conference, once Snodgrass was brought up, that he's going to be in for a busy day. So perhaps there is mixed messages, perhaps there is a chance he'll come in, but for now, if you're going off what I think is a very, very well sourced bit of information, I don't think he is going to be coming through the door. Apparently the bid was made last night to bring him in on a season-long loan. Robert Snodgrass is wanting first-team football. But, I mean, there's... It just, as I said, it just kind of came from nowhere. I don't know where it arose from. The Daily Record, I think, broke it as an exclusive. But, you know, we'll see what happens over the coming hours. I suppose things can develop. This tweet from Alison Conroy was last night too, so things might have changed by the... I mean, Neil Lennon's got an early rise this morning. We snoosing the gub, down to tenants, get himself ready. Things could change. He could perhaps come through the door. We've got to wait and see. But Lennon did say that the left back is a priority. A right winger though would be nice. He'll be busy. Look, my thoughts on Snodgrass is this. He's a very experienced player, we know that. 33 years of age. He's a Scottish international. He's played in the Premier League for years now. He's kind of had an up and down career at West Ham since signing there. They loaned him out at one point, I think, to Aston Villa. And then, you know, he came back to West Ham. He's had a few really good games. He's looked like their best player at some points over the last couple of years. People have loved him at times. Now he's kind of fell out of favour after West Ham went and splashed the cash on some overseas players. But is he the man for Celtic? I don't know. A lot of people are getting this sort of Celtic fan thing blinding him over. And yes, of course, I'm not going to sit down and deny I wasn't like that with Shane Duffy. When I heard Duffy was a man that was interested in coming to Celtic as a Celtic fan, I was buzzing. I was like, okay, he'll come in, he gets it, and this time, what is the biggest season of our existence. But I don't know about Snodgrass. Is he past it? Is there a reason he's not getting first team football at West Ham? Probably good enough for the Scottish Premiership, let's be honest, because he is a very good player. But I don't know. This is a very mixed one. It seems a 50-50 response, but you'll get the fans who really want to see him come in. For me, to be honest, it is a bonus. It's building on the depth on that right-hand side of the park. But are we improving on what we have? Is he better than James Forrest? Probably is. It's a hard one. It's a tough one with Snodgrass. I think there are better options Celtic could go for. But I suppose if you're looking at a one-year loan deal, does it hurt that much to do it? Does it hurt that much to get over the line? Of course, it might not even be happening, but Snodgrass could be coming to Celtic. Don't get your hopes up though. And finally, the last story we're going to talk about in today's Celtic transfer talk is relating to Alfie Doughty, who we've heard so much about over the past few weeks in the transfer rumour mill. A man who's been linked with Celtic. We've apparently made 3 or 4 bids from now. Lee Boyer was actually speaking about that last night, I believe, how we have made another bid, but they're holding their ground. They're not letting him go. They want him this season, which means Celtic are ready to pounce on a pre-contract offer in January. Not surprised. I thought that Celtic, I said it in the video that I made the other day on the left-back signings, I said that, you know, Alfie Doughty is a player who if Celtic feel like the fee goes too high for, they will stand back and go, no, we'll wait till January. Alfie Doughty has showed no sign of signing a contract extension with Charlton. I'm sure he'll know himself that how big an opportunity he's got in January to sign for a club like Celtic, and he will hold off. If our interest remains the same, if he keeps playing the same level of football, I have the 100% confidence that Neil Lennon and the board will go in and make a deal, an offer to him in January. And to be honest, you can't blame the board. Look, if they're not willing to accept an offer of 800, 900 grand, whatever it is we've bidded, because they feel like he's worth, you know, a couple million, there is no chance you can pay that with a year left on his contract. A League One player. A League One player. Maybe in the Premier League could get away with that. A Premier League calibre player. But this is a guy who's untested at high levels. He could easily come in and do a Kundai Benyu, be at Wealdstone in a few years' time. Who knows? So I don't blame the board for it. And if we are signing someone else at the left-back position, then I suppose it's not that bad. If it came to the end of today and we didn't have a left-back and we didn't go for Doughty, then maybe we should have made the bid a little bit higher. But you can't blame the board for the situation they find themselves in. They're penny grabbers. We all know it. We know they like to save their money, but it is quite smart, to be fair. A year left on the deal, no point in breaking the bank for that. But Doughty looks as though he could be signing in January to end that saga. We'll probably talk about him again when we get there. And that does it for today's edition of the Celtic Transfer Talk on Deadline Day. Have a happy Deadline Day. Don't get Jim White on the telly because he spouts utter nonsense. Just, I don't know, go and listen to the Super Scoreboard or something, I don't know. If you have enjoyed, you know what to do, like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts to the news in the comments below. I will be doing my end of transfer window spectacular tomorrow. Make sure to check it out, and see you all next time.